Hey guys, Sensei Nick from Code Ninjas here. And today I'm going to be showing you how to make your very own custom block in Minecraft. It's really easy and you can add a lot of cool properties to it. Like, for example, you can make it so the block makes you jump higher, you can make it so the block makes you move faster, and a bunch of other stuff like that. So it's really easy and it's going to be fun. So let's do it. Alright, so the first step to making your block is going to be clicking this green plus in the top left here. And if you're not on the screen, you can just click a workspace to get to the screen. But once you do get to the screen, you can just hit the green plus to get started. And then we can click block. There we go. So now it's going to ask us for a name we want to give our block. So I'm just going to call mine cool block. And just make sure that when you are making your block, you don't put any spaces in the name. Otherwise, it's going to get mad at you. So let's just press create new block right here. And that should make it so that this screen appears. So basically what this screen is for is it allows us to choose what our block looks like. So as you can see, there's different sides for our block. So there's the top, the bottom, the left, the front, right, the back. And we can choose exactly what we want these sides to look like. So for now, I'm just going to click on the top because, yeah, it doesn't really matter which one you do first, but I'm going to click on the top. And then I'm going to go ahead and press create new texture from scratch. And then just press create. So that should bring you to this screen here. And basically what we're doing here is we're choosing what we want that side of the block to look like. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw mine. You can click to draw first of all, and you can change what color you're drawing with by clicking on the top color right here. And then picking a color. So I'll pick purple. And then you can just go ahead and draw whatever you like. So I'll just go ahead and fill this in. If you want to fill in the whole thing at once, you can click over at the side here on the paint bucket tool, just like that, and then click an empty space, and that'll fill in the whole thing. So you can use the paint bucket tool if you want to do that. You can also use the eraser tool right here if you make a mistake, just like that. But if you want to go back to drawing normally, you can click on the pencil tool. There we go. And I should also mention, if you ever make a mistake, you can press the back arrow right here. So I'll just quickly finish off what I want my block to look like. Perfect. And then when I'm done, I'm just going to hit save texture in the top right here. And then it's going to ask you what kind of texture it is. So you're just going to say block. And then give it a name. Doesn't really matter. Let's call mine cool texture. So once I've saved it, I can just hit the X on the texture at the top right here, since I'm done with it. And then I can go back to my cool block. So now I can choose what I want the sides to look like. So I'll click on the top and I'll make it that texture I just made. And I can make all the sides the same texture. Oh my gosh, my cat just knocked a bottle of pills all over my keyboard. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm back, and my cat is now locked in the other room, so we won't have any more interruptions. But as I was saying, you can click on the different sides of your block to choose what you want it to look like. And I'm just going to make mine all the same. But you could create a new texture for each side if you wanted to. But that's good. So as of right now, I have a working block, but it doesn't really do much. It's a pretty boring block. So what I want to do is add some cool properties to it to make it more interesting. So I'm just going to go to the bottom where it says properties here. And I can go ahead and change the properties of my block to make it more fun, basically. So there's a bunch of different stuff we can change. I'm not going to go through all of these just because it's so much. Um, but I will go over a few fun ones. And if you're interested in what one of these settings does, you can click on the question mark beside it, and that'll tell you a little bit about what this setting does. Just like this. So I'll go over a few though. So slipperiness basically determines how much you slide when you're walking on the block. So 0.6 would be normal, and if I was to click on the arrow right here, I could increase it so it's more slippery. So I think like ice would be around 1, but I want mine to be really slippery, so I'm gonna make it 3. Jump factor here determines how high you jump when you're standing on the block. So I could turn that way up if I wanted to, and that'd make me jump super high when I'm standing on it. And we also have speed factor here, and that determines how fast you move when you're walking on it. I'll also go over luminance. Luminance is just how much light your block produces, so kind of like glowstone. So I'm going to turn mine way up so it's really bright. And the last one I'll go over is custom drop. So if you want your block to drop something other than just the block, so say you want to break it and it drops diamonds, here's what I could do. I could click custom drop and then type in diamonds in the search bar, and just like that. So now when I break my block, it will drop a diamond. And down here you can also change the drop amount. So I'm going to change the drop amount to like 32. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is for properties. You guys can fool around with the other properties if you're interested. But for now, the last thing I'm going to go over in this video is generation. And generation is just basically getting the block to spawn in your world. So first, let's go to dimensions to generate in. So this is basically choosing if it's going to generate in the regular world, the nether, or the end. For today, let's just make it so that it spawns in the surface, which is just the regular world. So do that. And then right here, we have blocks this block can replace. So this might sound a little bit confusing at first, but how do I describe it? Say, for example, I was to put grass blocks in here. There would be a chance when I generate my world that my block would spawn instead of grass blocks. So my block would spawn where grass blocks would be normally. So there we go. So now that I put grass here, it should spawn on the surface. So this first number here, average amount of ore per chunk, determines how common it is. So if I was to make this 1, it'd be pretty rare. So I'm just going to make it like 32, which is the maximum. Average number of ores in a group. So that's, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Just how big the groups, the blocks will spawn in. So if I was to leave it as 16, then there'd be 16 per group whenever my block spawned. And then to get it to work properly, what you need to do is make sure that maximal generation height is set to 128. And then your block should start spawning in your world. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the block. Once you're done, you can go ahead and hit Save Mod Element at the top right here. And as you can see, now my block appears in my mod elements list. So I'm just going to give it a second to load, and then once it's done loading, this green arrow will appear right here. And that means my mod is ready to play. So I can hit Run Client, and we can give my mod a try. Alright, so my mod has loaded. So what I'm going to do is just hit Single Player, and make a new creative world where I can test out my mod. So I've just loaded in, and as you can see, my block is now spawning in my world. And the reason it's spawning there is because, if you remember, I made it so that it can replace grass blocks. So now there's a chance it will spawn instead of grass blocks. I also made it so that it makes you jump higher too. So if you remember, I changed the jump factor by like, whoa. I also changed the speed factor, so that's why I made it. Oh my gosh. So that's what speed factor does. But jump factor does this. And you can turn that way up if you want to. So yeah, that's pretty much it for making your own block.